Ys 9 Monstrum Nox. Hey everybody, welcome back for another game break. So Ys 9, I played it, and if you didn't know, it was one of my most anticipated games of the year. I'm very much an Ys fan. But that notwithstanding, Ys 9 was fun, it was narratively satisfying, and it was action-packed. The action RPG gameplay was very fun. And when it came time to part ways with Adol and all the friends he made in this prison city of Balduq, it was really sad. And that's a testament to the game itself. Had a lot of fun with it. So anyway, let's get right into it. Ys 9 Monstrum Nox. Let's review it. So let's start with how things look first, because it's always the first thing we notice. So in Ys 9, you might notice right away that the graphics in terms of how the characters move, particularly in cutscenes or walking and running around town, can be a little bit stiff. And this is very much the MO of Falcom games in general, but where it really matters in Ys is the action RPG gameplay. And when it comes to graphics in those sequences, they're great. They're fast, they're furious, special skills in combat look amazing. You will really appreciate how the graphics look and move in combat, which is where a lot of the focus of this game lies. Another concern I had going into it from a graphical standpoint was just the setting. I knew this game was going to take place in the prison city of Balduq, so I was expecting a bit of gray. I was just hoping for not too much of it. But I'm happy to report, there's still plains, forests, different looking dungeons to explore. So they do still shake up the environments. It still can be a bit gray at times, but I did expect that going into the game a bit. And another thing that really helps me with the aesthetic of the game is, I love the anime art style. And the characters have over-the-top costumes as well. So it kind of sets up a really good contrast in the game between almost the grayer looking environments with the super colorful characters. So it has a very unique look about it, which I did appreciate. And Ys 9 takes a lot of cues from its immediate predecessor, Ys 8, such as the case with siege battles making a return. So in case you don't know what the siege battles are, essentially you'll have a little base and waves of enemies will keep on attacking you until you defeat them all, and you got to protect it. And these happen, at very certain story points of the game, essentially, and they're very infrequent and they're over very quickly. So if you weren't a fan of it from Ys 8, it's not a huge part of the game. Yes, it is there, but honestly, for myself personally, I just found it, shook up the gameplay a little bit. And I think we can all safely say that one of the best parts about RPGs is recruiting new playable characters. And that is very much the same case with Ys 9. Because when we recruit a new playable character in Ys 9, we get a new way to traverse the map generally. For example, the first character you recruit can run straight up walls, character after that can fly, and so on and so forth. And it just makes exploring an absolute pleasure. You can do all these different things when you're exploring, and you can get quicker and move faster and do things you couldn't do before and open up new areas, and I love that. And you can do that both within Balduq and the greater surrounding area. And not only does it allow for some fun exploration, it allows for some cool platforming opportunities as well, particularly in dungeons. So it just honestly adds a lot of fun. And around Balduq in particular, there are a ton of collectibles to find. So, being able to traverse the city in all these different ways and find all these different collectibles is great. And I'm an explorer in video games. I love looking around, and all of these collectibles and stuff, they're not super annoying to find. Of course it takes time, but it's generally quite enjoyable. And it doesn't hurt either that the rewards for doing these, these little hunts around town are very much worth your while. I would say virtually in every instance. And irregardless if you're this type of player or not, this game is very completionist friendly. It's very easy to track things down and to keep track of all the things you can collect or explore. Even if I wasn't a completionist, which I do have a tendency to be in some games, I would probably be a completionist for this one just because Ys 9 makes it so easy and such a joy to complete things that I would probably end up doing it anyway. So that's another huge plus for Ys 9. It just constructs the game in such a way that it makes you want to do absolutely everything in it. But arguably the most important thing in an Ys game is its combat, and it's extremely fun in Ys 9. Very, very fun. Weapon skills are awesome to watch. They're awesome to use. I maxed out every single skill in this game. I just loved maxing them all out to their full potential. And every time you level it up, its animation changes just the slightest little bit, but I enjoyed doing that kind of thing. And if you want to master this game, there's perfect dodge and perfect block, so you can become essentially a master of the combat system if you're able to, get your timing right. But one thing I will caution about in Ys 9 is I played this game on hard, and it was I would say probably too easy on hard. So if you want a modicum of challenge, start on hard. If you want more, I'd say probably at least one level above that, just so you know. And there was also an added addition to this game that I give major props to Falcom for doing. And that was, so in Ys 8 and in Ys 9, you have essentially combat types. Your character is either a slash type, a strike type, or a pierce type. If you want to be able to attack all enemies effectively, you obviously need one of each type in your party because it's a 3-person battle system. But in this game, unlike Ys 8, which did it at the very end of the game, you were quickly introduced to items that let you change your weapon type. So you can have whichever characters you want to use in your party at all times. You just need to maybe equip them with an item to change their attack type, but otherwise you can have all your bases covered, therefore ensuring you can always be dealing out the maximum amount of damage at any given time. So, awesome addition. There are side quests in Ys 9 as well, but generally they're fairly standard fare, nothing crazy in terms of design. And generally, by and large, they're fairly necessary to progress through the main story anyway, so while they are side quests, they're pretty much a necessity by nature. But one thing I will give them is generally they are very rewarding narratively speaking, and they do a good job fleshing out character backstories and the wider world at large. And even after doing all the side quests, collecting all the collectibles, leveling up all my skills, pretty much doing everything I could in the game, by and large, the whole game only took 44 hours, and I completed the vast majority of it. So that was very nice. Like, don't get me wrong, I love an epically long RPG just as much as the next guy. I don't mind the 100-hour plus RPG if it's a good time. But it is nice once in a while just to have a solid 40-hour RPG to play that is not all fluff, and it's just a solid experience beginning to end, and it's entertaining throughout, and it avoids the problem of burnout. So that's what I really like about Ys 9. It just doesn't overstay its welcome. So generally the Ys games, you can start with anyone and have a good time. Generally there aren't, super complicated webs of characters or plot points to keep track of. Generally it's a brand new adventure with a brand new set of characters. So you can have a good time irregardless. You just get more out of it if you're a long-term fan. But one thing I did really appreciate, being a fan of the Ys series is right away, this game isn't afraid to make fun of itself. They make fun of the fact that, Adol, it's like, he has a predisposition for shipwrecks because it's happened to him at the beginning of a few games. And it's like, oh yeah, you come across all this legendary, incredibly strong equipment every game, and he happens to lose it by the beginning of the next game. So they're making fun of themselves, and I really enjoy that when video games do it. Because, they're self-aware and they're just having a good time, and the Ys games are a good time. But unfortunately for Adol, he's been at the center of one of too many international incidents, and that is inevitably what lands him in prison to a degree. His notoriety has definitely caught up with him in Ys 9. And while I really enjoyed the story of Ys 9, it added a facet to it that I love no matter which game has it, and that is it has political intrigue in it, which I eat up. So there's that in Ys 9 as well. So if you're a fan of political drama, there is a bit of that as well. It's not overwhelming, but it is there, and it does make for a satisfying narrative in my opinion. And there is a bit more world building in this game as well. And for those of you that don't know, the world of Ys is a mirror of Earth. And essentially it's taking place in the time of ancient Rome. So, there are countries that you will be familiar with, like, Spain and France and Germany and Africa. I know Africa is not a country, the continent. But so that makes it satisfying for people that know their history as well. Because we're getting a mirror of ancient Rome in this fantasy world, or ancient France. And I just love that kind of thing. So if you're into history, this could be a series for you as well. And something else the Ys series is really doing now, and this started to become very evident in Ys 8, is they're caring way more about its characters now, and they are caring way more about their world building. They are very much taking cues from their other flagship series, The Legend of Heroes, and putting it in the Ys series. So I like that personally. I love well-developed characters. I like a well-constructed world. So just honestly keep giving me more of that. And for Ys 9, the story did take a little bit of time to get going. But if you make it to the end of chapter 2, and you're going to know the moment when you see it, that's when I got hooked. There's something that happens at the end of the second chapter, and I was just like, what the hell is going on here? And then that game kind of keeps doing that cycle. You'll kind of figure something out, and then all of a sudden you'll be like, what the hell is going on again? And it just keeps doing that. So after the end of the second chapter, I was hooked. The game hooked me into its narrative completely because I just wanted to figure out what was going on. I honestly wish I was recording myself for my Ys 9 playthrough because I just was genuinely flabbergasted at moments. And as I've said before, the story in this game is quite enjoyable. You begin to care about all the main characters. They're well developed. There's good character growth, and you are genuinely interested in seeing where they end up by the end of the game. And there's a lot of feel-good moments to this game's narrative as well, especially when it involves all the other characters you meet. And not only the main characters you can recruit, even the side characters in this game, there's a lot of development and story, and you become very curious in learning more about everybody. And it's very rewarding when you do. And by the time the game ends and you have to say goodbye to everybody because Adol always takes off on his new adventure and he leaves everyone behind, it was super tough. I was very sad to leave Balduke. I was very sad to part ways with these characters. And oh man, just some tear-jerking scenes between some of them. And I can only hope in the future we might see one or two again. So that just is a testament to how well this game constructed its characters and how well done its story was. And for the scenes in this game that did have it, the voice acting was once again very well done. Nisa is doing a very good job with its voice actors. The Legend of Heroes series is another example. They just have good voice work in the Falcom games. And it makes sense because they are very much narratively driven experiences, the Legend of Heroes games in particular, and very much the Ys games are going that direction as well. So voice acting, absolute plus. And another plus, and it wouldn't be an Ys game if this wasn't a plus, is the music. Some of the themes in this game are just bumping. They are good. Like the field theme, for example, awesome. And if that wasn't good enough, the dungeon theme is really good too. And that's just a couple of pieces. The music in this game is fantastic, and the Ys games always are, and I just hope they continue to be. So as you can probably guess from this review, I really enjoyed Ys 9. It didn't shake up things too much. It was by and large the game I was expecting. It did have some welcome new elements, such as, changing combat types or just world traversal. But by and large, I got what I was expecting, and that's okay. So if you played an Ys game before, particularly Ys 8, and you liked it, play Ys 9, you'll enjoy it. But if you didn't like Ys 8, you probably won't like this. But speaking of Ys 8, if you are thinking of getting into the Ys games, I feel like I would recommend to play Ys 8 first over Ys 9. I just feel like it's a bit of a better introductory point to get into this series than Ys 9 is. Nothing against Ys 9. If you're adamant of starting with it, it'll be just fine. I just think Ys 8 might be better. But all in all, love this game, love the characters, love the story, loved the action combat, loved collecting everything in the game. You know, it was just awesome. And I can't wait until we see where Adol goes next, whether it's the mirror version of Britain or Germany or other parts of Africa or Asia. I honestly just can't wait. And I'm very curious to see whose heart Adol breaks next. So as always, thank you for joining me for this game break, everybody. I'll see you next time.